Hi, Paige from Loma, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another video. It's more of a hobby vlog today, actually. It's just going to be a nice chat and talk about some painting, talk about some Trench Crusade, and talk about some other projects which I'm thinking of, including different game systems and stuff like that. So first, we're just going to do the landscapes on the wooden panels of my Crimson Communicant, and then I'll talk a little bit about my approach to painting landscapes, and then do some more work on the AZEBs, get them all ready, and then we're going to do the weathering, which I'm really looking forward to, as I always am, and then we're just going to have a nice little chit chat. So let's just get painting. So when thinking about doing a landscape, I like to do the sky first. Now for the sky, I usually mix up some blue with a white, and then maybe add a little touch of yellow to it. Blue wise, I don't really have anything ultramarine because I'd love to start more with like an ultramarine blue, but I think we're just going to use a Temple Guard blue, and then we're just going to mix it around because it is quite an intense blue, and we don't want the sky to be super intense because it's not super intense. So I'm just testing the blue out at the moment, and I actually quite like how it looks here. So let's just block this in. It's going to look very thin. I think this blue is quite thin, but we want our horizon to either be really high or really low. In the middle, if it's like dead in the middle, it just makes for a boring landscape composition wise. Because if we do it really low, we get more of a sky painting. But if we do it really high, we get more of there's more landscape. That's where the visual interest is coming in. Whereas if we do it in the middle, it's like half and half, and that's not really too interesting. So that's a more desaturated blue, which we're going to be using for the horizon. Now, when painting a landscape, you know, you've got the transition between the darkest blues right at the above where the atmosphere is thinnest, and then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. But when you're painting a landscape, usually what you're looking at is not the entirety of the sky, you're just looking at a section of it. So the chances of actually getting that proper blueness is quite slim. Let's just reinforce the blues up here. A bit lighter, but ooh, maybe that could be a cloud. Again, how I like to paint is very different in terms that I just paint and I see what happens. With clouds, bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom, because of the bottom bit's going to be further away, and kind of do it like a zigzag, so it sort of leads the eye. So we've got the sky in place now. Next up is the actual landscape itself. So I'm going to mix a green. So I actually like to use some of the sky color for the most furthest greens, because the further a green is, the more blue it gets because of atmospheric perspective, where the sort of redness and the warmth of colors sort of drops into more sort of blues and purples. That's why things which look further away, mainly cold in color, and then the closer the thing is, the warmer they are. So just put that there. So let's see what this looks like on the surface. Okay, and even with that, just that simple brushstroke, we kind of actually have a landscape, because we've got our foreground, which could be this wood, which you can also look at that as mud, and then we can just like do a couple of brush strokes, and now it looks more like earth. Now we're gonna make this a bit, so this is more of like a dark blue-gray green, and we're just gonna add this. to the back. And then look at that. So even with that broken brushstroke, where the sky is, it kind of forms itself into a river. So let's just add a little bit of darkness to this. So we'll be adding that. Like there, maybe. And look at that. We've just got a very simple. So yeah, the projects are all coming on very nicely. Like I've said, I've only got a couple things left to paint for my iron wall, 2 AZEBs, and then I do have a sapper, which I need to paint, but that's gonna push that over to 900 ducats. So, because with these videos, I want 2 lists, maybe 3, 1 campaign starter, one-off 908, and then maybe 1 like optimized tournament list. I need to do the same for the Red Brigade. I've got the 700 ducats for that all figured out. I just need to figure out the 908 glory list, because I don't know, like I don't play New Antioch. It's the faction I've played the least because I've played no games with them. So it is very much uncharted territory. There are like a load of guides out there which members of the community have written about certain factions, and I'll link some down below just in case you want to check them out, because I find that they're a really useful resource for just for like any level of player, be it if you've just started, or if you've been in the hobby for a little bit longer, or if you're a seasoned veteran. I think it's just a nice resource to have, because New Antioch's one of those weird ones, I find, that they feel very much like the starter army, but in reality, from everything you read, they're very much like glass cannon. They're very much like, you're not running armor, everything has a job, and it only does that one job. So your mechanized heavy infantry, they carry heavy weapons, and they do that. Your sniper puts blood onto things, and your like flamers take out the people who've got the blood on them, because it's all about like fire teams and setup. There's a lot of like, when you read the guides, there's a lot of chess metaphors and like sacrificing pieces and stuff like that. So it's very glass cannon-y, it's very like set up sort of faction. So if you'd like that, definitely check out New Antioch. I've just been really enjoying also painting the Iron Sultanate. It's been such a breath of fresh air, because I don't usually get to paint bright things, and it's just nice that they're so colorful, because you look at a lot of like historical references, they're all very colorful, and it's nice to have that pop of color in a very grim, dark setting compared to the usual monstrosities and everything has rust on it, which I usually do. So it's been a nice breath of fresh air. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying Trench Crusade. I'm loving the game. I've played a good number of games now, and yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. And it's very easy to get the hang of and easy to learn. And yeah, I'm just glad that I picked it up and have sort of committed myself to playing it and being involved in like the community. And yeah, so if you're on the fence about playing it or giving it a go, I'd 100% recommend giving it a go, because it is a very fun game, and yeah, it's super good. But saying that, I do find that when it comes to people who are into miniature wargaming, there's always that little voice in your head which goes, oh, you're really enjoying this system. What about you play another system? What about you try these miniatures out? What about if you paint this? Or what about if you collect this? And for me, it feels like that's always there. Not seeming like I've committed myself to miniature wargaming and playing it and really enjoying it. It's like all of these sort of other avenues open of like different things I want to try. One of these things, which I've been very much thinking about and in the process of doing, is Middle-earth strategy battle games, but I'm getting some Numenorians printed and I'm going to be trying to do them in my sort of grimdark style. I'll be like, a lot of them have like beards and stuff, so I'm going to be doing the Q-tip method on them because I'd love to be able to translate my painting style into this sort of world of Tolkien and have that grit which like the movies have. So I think that's going to be a really interesting project, so I'll do 500 points of that. I've never played a game of Middle-earth strategy battle game, but that will change. We'll be doing a video on that, on building the force and painting it and all of that sort of stuff, but that might be a little bit down the pipeline. And then of course I've got my turnip stuff, which I'm steadily working on. And then another game which has really sort of grabbed my interest is Pillage. I don't really have any historical games. I think as you get older, the appeal of historics slowly sort of creeps in, but it's like a skirmish game set in like the Dark Ages, and it just looks super cool and super fun. I think it's based off of the Middle-earth strategy battle game rules as well, so I think if I'm learning 2 new systems, them being a little bit similar would probably be an advantage. So yeah, and then there's like Baron's War and all of that sort of stuff. The list could literally go on and on, but I just want to keep it to a handful at the moment, but mainly, of course, Trench Crusade, because that is my game. I love it so much. Oh yeah, I say that. Another game, this is the final one, I swear, is Mordheim. I have always wanted to play Mordheim and love the old sort of Warhammer fantasy aesthetic. I love like reading the old Warhammer fantasy books. Like one of my favorite books from them is the Bretonnian series. Impossible to get in physical sort of form. You can get the Kindle version of it. It's super fun. I love there's a trilogy, follows like a questing night, check it out. But I just love that Warhammer fantasy aesthetic, and I'd love to do like an undead warband. Now I don't know if this would be like an October project for spooky season. It's my favorite month, of course it is, where I do an undead warband, but the thing is, like, what do I want to do for it? Like, do I go new sculpts? Probably not. It's not my cup of tea. On the other hand, do I do like the really old sculpts? Because there are some seriously cool Citadel like skeletons and stuff, like metal. So I'm tempted to do that, but also use some like really cool miniatures from like smaller model makers and creators, because there are so many out there. And if you have any recommendations, please like drop them in the comments below, because I'd definitely want to check them out. But like having that, like maybe like that old Citadel, and then having those sort of independent miniature makers sort of combined together, having like a similar aesthetic maybe, would just be a super fun project to do and a super fun video to do. So I think it could be a fun sort of project. Again, a lot of things to be thinking about. And another thing I'm thinking about is what my next faction is going to be for Trench Crusade, because I've done Pride for Call the Seven-Headed Serpent, I've done Heritage Naval Raiding Party, I've done Defenders of the Iron Wall, I will have the Red Brigade, and then I'll have the Great Thirst, or Great Hunger, so, and also my Black Grail. So I've got 6 warbands. Will have 6 warbands all painted, which is crazy. So I'm just trying to think what's next. Now at the moment I've done 2 factions of Heaven, 4 factions of Hell. I think I have a preference. So I think I'll do another faction for Heaven, and I think I'll probably do Trench Pilgrims or Wrath for another Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. But maybe Trench Pilgrims. Now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to use for my Trench Pilgrim miniatures. I want to do it a little bit different, as I kind of like to. So I just got to figure that out, and then I'll slowly make my way down the list. Painting check-in. I've waited as long as I can for my Crimson Communicant to dry. I'm going to go in with some Goon's Grime, and this is just going to be a general wash. And then I'll probably go in with some Carrion Crimson, just to start the distressing process for the skin. And yeah, we're just gonna have a fun time with it, as we always do. This is gonna take a couple of minutes. So I've done some Goon's Grime and some of the Carrion Crimson on my Communicant for my Red Brigade. I'm happy with how it's going. There's still a lot of weathering I want to do, but I'm going to have to probably call it there for today, because I want to use him in a game tonight, and I kind of want him to be a little bit drier than he already is. So I'm probably going to have to call a stop to that. And because I'm going to be going in with like oils and stuff like that later on for the skin and for like all of the aggravated skin and stuff. So I'll probably be in another video, or it'll be in a short, just a nice sort of weathering thing. So yeah, I'm happy with the process. I'm happy with how he's going. And yeah, I've also done the Goon's Grime on my Azebs. I'm happy with how they've gone as well. And don't really need too much else, probably just some additional weathering and basing, which I can do later. It's been very successful painting, and I'm happy with the progress I've made. And yeah, I just hope you've enjoyed this more sort of chit chat. So that's probably where I'm going to call it there today. So if you're still here at the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And again, as always, let me know what you're working on. Yeah, I've been Painting from the Loam, and until next time, goodbye.